Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are blessed today to be joined by. Well, you can introduce yourself, can't you?
Yeah. Harrison Tillman with UTSA Track and Field and Cross Country here in San Antonio.
Absolutely. So he's a D1 coach. He also is one of only two coaches I know that can pull off earrings. The other being Pete at UNC Pembroke. I'm sure there's no compliance violations there. Anyway,
Probably not.
we're good. Anyway, what we thought we'd do, we're going to whack in a load of questions so you kids can finally understand that I'm not talking a load of nonsense. We're going to get questions and answers directly from the mouth of a D1 coach. So, you ready to crack on?
Let's get going, Cole. Yeah.
So I've got a little bit of glazed bacon stuck in my tooth. Apologies. Right. Number one. What's the first thing you look for when recruiting someone?
I would say the first thing is definitely time. So you gotta have production out the gate. And then probably 1B is character. Having a high character individual is like high priority for me.
There you go, kids. As I thought. Oh, we got bread coming. It's good bread here, by the way. Right. How important is academics?
I really like showing this.
Say, no way.
Appreciate it.
I didn't know that.
Don't worry.
There we go. Academics is definitely, I said 1A, 1B for character and performance, but academics is probably 1C. It just depends on where you want to rank them, but they're all at the top. Especially when it comes to the programs that we offer. That's one of the first questions I ask is if we don't have a program that fits to what you're wanting to do long term, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, then it probably doesn't make sense to continue recruiting you. But thankfully, we have a lot of programs, so that helps.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I'd add within that, guys. I always say to any kid, you got to kind of work out what you want to study, right? Because if you're going to work with a coach, they're going to ask you what you want to do. If you just say, I have no idea, their concern is going to be if you then in the future decide a program and then offer it, they can waste quite a few months of recruitment on you. So you kind of want to go in with at least not an exact idea, but a gauge. It will unquestionably help and make them a little bit more confident that you're going to be a potential fit in the future. Right. Advice to athletes looking to get noticed by college coaches, such as yourself.
Yeah. I think partly it depends on where the timeline is. If you're a freshman or sophomore, I'm not going to be reaching out at that point. Part of this compliance, but also just put your head down and work. If you're junior and senior, I say it's better to start reaching out earlier. Even if you haven't quite hit the times we're looking for, at least you're putting your name out there where I have an idea of you and I can start kind of building that relationship if you kind of are on that trajectory. We'll talk about, I think if I had to guess, there's probably a question about potential. There always is something like that. Like at least by junior year, I have an idea where your marks are at and where that's going to line up down the road. So I'd say reach out as soon as you can so we can start building that relationship.
Right, this would be a fun one. Do you look at athletes' social media? And if so, for what?
We got the mariachi back here. They're serenading the interview. Gosh. I definitely look at social media. And it wasn't that long. 8 years ago when I was in college. Not that long ago. I guess shorter. But I know with social media, everyone wants to produce a image and project. But at the same time, if you're partying all the time or going to festival all the time, that's definitely showing me if you're doing that in high school.
Tea, by the way, right? It's not alcoholic.
And water right here. But yeah, if you're doing that in high school, it's definitely not gonna go away in college. Is how I see things. So
I completely agree. I think if you post any party pictures, go to Halloween, whatever it is, you are killing your recruitment process because you've got to think, right, if you're doing that in high school and you're posting about it and it's that important that you do post about it, you're definitely going to carry on in college, and that's not really the behavior of an elite athlete, right? Or any athlete of any level, quite frankly. You've got to be locked in, and I'm not suggesting there's not a time and place for having some fun, but when you're broadcasting it online, it does make it look like that's what you're only really about. So I love that music in the background. Anyway, right, next question. How do you assess potential?
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I would say a few things. I try to do my due diligence at meeting coaches, seeing you run. I think that's probably the first one, whether you're a jumps coach, sprints coach, or on my end of things, distance side. seeing an athlete run really does show maybe they haven't quite hit the times. Let's say you're a junior and female athlete, and you're running in the mid 220s, right? But I go and see you compete, and you're like, man, there's a lot. I think there's a lot there. Maybe your coaching hasn't quite got you up to that level yet. I think seeing you in person is a big one, or seeing videos is also really helpful. Two is trying to get to know your coach, because they can give me a lot more insight on, the plan for you moving forward. Especially if you're like on the younger side, like junior, just starting out senior year, and then also looking to see the progression from year to year. A lot of times there's a big jump from sophomore to junior year, or even from junior year to senior year cross country. That does show, like, if there's a big jump there, there's probably more on the way. I don't know. I think that probably covers it.
I'd agree. I think if you've got quite low volume, so if you're looking at it from a distance side standing, if you can show them the averages of your volume, normally if you can increase your volume a little bit, that probably suggests you've got a bit more of a ceiling to grow into. If you've had a big jump, normally there's like a bit of a medium jump to come off the back of that, and then the smaller incremental little improvements year to year. Yeah. So I think the size of the jump's a big one, and then just mechanics, right? I always think it's a good idea to get the video and have that presented to a coach, because if they can see how you run, they can normally look at that and think, okay, what's his racecraft like? Just how does he run and move? You can take a lot from that in terms of adjudicating upside. It's not an accurate science, but at least have that stuff on hand so a coach can look at it. Right. The biggest misconception athletes have with the recruitment process.
Oh, this is a tough one, because it's definitely nuanced. In some ways, it kind of comes back to the academic side, but on the athletic side, purely speaking, is how much value certain times performances hold. At the end of the day, that's kind of why I go to academics. Make sure your academics are always on point, because that can carry you a lot further from a money standpoint. Because sometimes, you might be hitting the times to get on the team, but not quite hitting the times to get a high percentage of scholarship offer. I don't know if that makes sense in terms of how that's broken down.
I would say you got to get good academics, right? So if you're a coach and you're looking at a kid and they've got really bad grades, you know that you have to invest a lot more in that kid, right, to get them on the team. So if you've got a good academic baseline and you're adding 8 on top of that, maybe you don't need 80%, but you maybe need 20-30% to get you to 80%. That academic baseline just puts you in a much more recruitable window. The other thing is, this would be my opinion, right, in terms of misconceptions. A lot of kids overvalue themselves. You've got to score points in conference, right? For 99% of coaches, you've got to pay the bills. You've got to go in there and be able to score decent points. And if you're not within top 8 in the conference, or at least on the fringe of that, it's difficult to justify a big chunk of money. So you've got to be performing. You've got to have good grades. And I think that's where most kids maybe look at themselves and think, well, I'm doing pretty well in high school, right? Maybe I'm performing well at this level. Well, college is another level above that, right? So it's just about, it's the framing of how you go from college into high school, into university. You've got to kind of look at it more in that lens than maybe the lens that you currently got in high school itself. Right.
I think that's probably the biggest point.
I will hold it closer to the microphone. Thanks for that. Okay. What do you think athletes should consider when picking a program?
I think there's a lot to consider. So what I typically, maybe I'll frame it like this, what I typically ask athletes on a call, some of them haven't even considered this, but maybe putting a top 3, top 5 things on what they want. Because, some people it's location. Some people, they could care less where they're located. Others, it's, team atmosphere. Others, they don't necessarily put that as high priority. They're more, I want a high quality coach that knows what he's doing. I think really what it comes down to is asking yourself where you want to be, in that 4 to 5 year window, and, having people in your corner that are going to push you in the right way. What I would say as a coach, probably the big things are coach, team culture / environment / standards. Maybe the team is, young and they're moving in that direction, even if they haven't quite hit the times that you're looking for. And I think that's a few of the things that I would always say. And then I think stability, what the coach has done before with other programs. So I think that might answer it. And I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
I'll add that we're getting salad now. So we're going to get... I think I was Caesar salad. Let's have a little pause during the video. Am I holding it close enough this time?
No, good. Thank you.
Right.
I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay. I'm really hoping he answers this how I want him to.
We might have to do a retake.
We'll just roll with it, right? At Olympic Sports Scholarships, and me, myself, we are completely, what's the word, uncensored. We don't edit. This is just raw, straight up, off the bone footage.
Yeah, you're seeing the salad get
Exactly.
delivered.
You can see me chewing.
And squeeze.
Exactly.
I am not paying for his meal for compliance.
Exactly.
Clarification.
And I'm not paying for his as well, I promise,
Yes.
as well. Right. How important is range? So you're an 8:15 coach, right? Distance coach.
Yeah,
How
8 all the way
important-
up to the 10K. Yeah.
So how important is the ability to cover like 2-3 distances pretty solidly? Please answer how I need you to.
Yeah, no,
I'm
trying. I want to put this as like a percentage of importance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it as 100%. Like if you're an 800 guy and you don't have a 47 400 or 40, like I don't know if that's necessarily disqualifying you, but being able to run a good 4x4 and then be able to come back and also be a mile leg on the DMR sets you apart. And I don't know the varying levels, but it definitely puts you above someone that's only able to run an 800. That's my opinion. At least at this college level, when you go to conference and you got the DMR, I don't know if I'd necessarily make a kid do this, but you got a DMR, then you got two heats of the 800, then you got a 4x4. I don't know if I'm putting a guy on all of those, but being able to go on an 800, get to the final, which in the American Conference is pretty competitive, and then also being able to come back, and whether you're the anchor, third leg, or whatever it is, also be able to split at least a 47. That sets you, and that's going to get you a lot more money than someone that can only qualify for the 800 final, but they struggle, maybe putting themselves into the mile final.
I love him for saying that, right? I scream and shout this all the time. You can't go in one event specific. It's not even a case of sometimes having to do the DMR and doing the 4x4, but the ability to do it. If they need you to, you can step in, right? And this is all about scoring points. If you are an 8 kid or any event, quite frankly, and you only think, okay, I'm just going to do this one thing, that's going to get me recruited, I'm going to be polite. I'm not going to call you an idiot, but, you might be a little bit of one. So take that as it is. Right, next question. Let me unlock my phone. Biggest green flag. Like, oh my God, just bang. I'm going to recruit this kid all day long. Just nothing else to consider. Just unbelievable. Here we go.
Well, first they meet like our minimum standards on times. From there, if I'm talking to the coach, I think I'm growing as a coach. There's some coaches that have been coaching for a lot longer than me, but I do think I'm a general good read on character, and I can kind of smell out like if someone's about it. If they're about the work and they really, really just want to be great, I'm much more dialed into recruiting them than someone that it's hard to tell if they're really about wanting to be like put in all the possible effort and work to get to that next level. Because when you get to college, and I would say resilience is another big thing. Like seeing, maybe not failure to the sense of like they were awful, but maybe getting knocked down, and the fact that they've gotten back on their feet and gotten better is a really big thing. Because in college, as a freshman especially, you're gonna get punched in the face quite a bit, especially on cross country. You're lining up, and maybe you're an 800 guy doing cross country, maybe not your forte. You're going to get punched in the mouth. Can you get back up? Can you still come to practice with a high level of attitude and wanting to get better? I think those go hand in hand, but it comes back to the character on that.
Yeah, I don't completely agree. I think this is something I noticed my freshman year as well, right? I came over, ran 148 in the 8, some solid. I just got beat up in cross, and I think for most kids, you go from being a big fish in a small pond to being this tiny little fish in this enormous system that's the NCAA. You've got to be aware you're competing against a different kettle of fish. Fantastic music as well for Christmas. What we got now?
We got Pete Crosby.
Yeah.
Pete Crosby.
Yes. Anyway, more important stuff to discuss. What's a non-negotiable when competing D1?
Grade, I think it's probably two-parter. Grades are definitely non-negotiable. We keep coming back. I think you're kind of seeing a thread on some of these things. Grades, character. Like, I think times are definitely that's a high priority, but grades are non-negotiable. Like, I stay on my athletes pretty. I don't want to say hard, but like I stay on them for it because that's going to be like the odds that you're going pro. I don't know what the percentages are. You're more than likely to go have a career, right? And it's my job to set you up for life, not just for the 4 years that I'm with you. I think a non-negotiable is also like if just complaining, like excuses, or maybe a better way to word it is like not taking accountability. When I see someone that takes accountability early on, that's usually really like that's only going to improve, especially as you mature. So I would say those are probably the big ones. I love honestly for me, it comes down to what I love coaching. What I feel is going to fit into our culture the most is someone that's like I don't have to second guess that they're going to do the work off the track because I'm only with them. I think they're 20 hours a week, right? I don't know how many hours that leaves within a week, but that's a lot more time off the track where I don't got to worry about them doing the right stuff off the track. You know, I'm going to give them the tools, and they're going to take care of business. And those athletes that take care of business off the track that typically are the ones that kill it long term on the track and on the cross country course or wherever, or just in life in general. So that's what I'd say.
I'd agree completely. Right, we're going to have fun with this now. We're going to do 3 quick fire questions. I'm just going to make them up on the spot. And the first one is yes or no. Would you recruit, let's go, a 146 800 meter guy, right?
Yes.
But you just, I hate him. He's so annoying. He's a really unpleasant kid, not a good character, but he's 146.
146 as a senior in high school?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. No. I'm gonna let them. I'll let them go. I'll let them go. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather coach someone that's a 148, great character, than 146.
Okay.
Hot take.
Okay, there we go. I'd recruit them all day long.
Oh, maybe I need to.
No, I'm joking.
Let's cut that out.
Yeah. Right. Okay. We'll go for another one.
We need to edit that one out.
Yeah.
Just joking.
We'll go 2.4 GPA, like bare minimum GPA, but lovely kid and really quick, like solid athlete, like 149 guy, going to score in conference.
Yeah.
But his academics are like, oh man, is this kid going to pass uni? First year? Yes or no?
They have to be showing me that they've gotten at least better academically from year to year. Maybe they kind of
just stable the whole way through.
If it's stable and they're not showing like a drive to get better, I'll probably pass.
Okay.
I'll probably pass.
Okay. There you go, kids. Academics, scream and shout it, but it's important.
Yeah.
We need a third one. Okay.
We gotta have one to replace that first one. I botched that one.
Yeah, true. We'll think of another one. I was gonna whack out without editing it, to be honest.
Yeah. 146 we gotta take. Like,
yeah, you take that. You want to change your answer?
Yeah, I'll change my mind.
Okay.
We're gonna take a 146.
Okay. Okay.
No question about it. That's winning conference and
sure.
getting you into the NCAA final.
Oh, I got a good one, right? 146. No, we'll go 147 kid. 147 kid. But graduate guy, maybe a couple of years left of eligibility. Completely will refuse to do any DMR 4x4. He's just like, I'll only do the 8. Never going up or down. Like, I'm a pure 8 guy.
I guess the question is how many years he's got left. See, if he's only got like 1 year, we'll take him. 2 years. It gets a little tough because that's pretty valuable, especially like because 147 probably it'll get you to region, might not get you to individual nationals. So it comes a question on like we might be able to get a DMR where you can score pretty quality points at conference and just dipping out on that costs us a little bit. But I don't know. I probably would take a 147 2-year guy. Yeah.
Okay.
I probably would.
I'm trying to think of some more, to be honest, just to whack it in there. What can we ask?
These are so hot takes. I might get flamed for this.
You got questions for me? Oh, there we go. yeah. A guy doing well in school, running well, grades are great, but he's just putting it back. All you see is him drinking, iced teas with a bit of whatever.
I'll let him go.
You'll let him go.
That's another hot take. I'll let him go.
Okay.
Like he'll probably find a spot and he might end up doing really good, and I'll get. But I think for me, like being new, I've only been at UTSA for about 4 months. I think culture is probably a big thing here, and I'm not going to have someone come in and I have to sacrifice what we're trying to build long term. Like I want to build something here where it's like a 10-year at least, you know. So I'm not gonna rush things year one and sacrifice things down the road.
Culture builds lineage, I think.
Yeah,
the only way you
that's
create
how I see it.
longevity.
And coaches might disagree. I think that's
Some would for sure.
Yeah,
But there will be
yeah.
mercenary programs, right? Which is different set of questions. Right. We're going to enjoy our Caesar salads. How does that sound?
sounds great.
All right. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoy that, kids. Top man.
Appreciate it.
And if you're interested, I could
Birds
probably
up. Birds up. Yeah.
Birds up. Can I say message him if you're interested in going to the US? That's not a compliance violation.
Well, you can
Message me if you want to come to the US and then pay me money and I become richer and then I can send you to him afterwards. Let's do that. That's not Yeah, it's another of course. We don't have
Yeah, we can't gatekeep.
we have no partnerships, okay? This is just all word of mouth and friends with people. There's no official partnerships. There's no limit with who you can talk to. So let's do that. Cool. Finished.